back on NFL Live, and look at that, Philip Rivers. It's just really been a fun week watching this. Philip Rivers coming out of retirement nearly 5 years after his final game. Riley Leonard, a full participant in practice. So who's going to get the start on Sunday? Well, here's Colts head coach Shane Steichen earlier today.
I mean, you try to do in this practice as best you can. Obviously, the game's a little different. The game speed will be a little different for him. So that'll be an acclimation period for him, if he's out there. He's not here to save the season. He's here to be a great leader, a great teammate, go out there, operate the offense, get us in and out of the right plays. And that's the process. And that's the way he's taken it and flown with it one day at a time and going through his process.
The hero, Philip Rivers. All right, for more on what's going on in Indy, we welcome in our Colts reporter, Stephen Holder. Stephen, what more can you tell us about the Colts' plans at QB this weekend?
Well, Laura, the immediate plan, perhaps happening about right now, is for Steichen and Philip Rivers to meet and to check some final last boxes, one of which is, how does he feel after 3 days of being on the field after literally being on the couch? And as all those 40-something-year-olds out there know, how you feel matters a lot. I can attest. Beyond that, though, we have seen many indications about their plans this week, even if they aren't confirming to their plans to start Rivers. And one of them came from Steichen. He talked about the back and forth between him and Rivers this week in the meeting room, and he went into great detail about how they were ping-ponging, as he said, ideas off each other. And it harkened back to their days with the Chargers, where they both were in the late 2010s when Steichen was an up-and-coming assistant coach, and they would have long periods of banter about football, et cetera. So they got back to that this week, and it was a little bit of deja vu for them. And all of that, it appears, is a step toward getting him ready to play on Sunday.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, just great information out of you all week long as you followed this. Thanks to Stephen there. He's saying he knows what it's like to be in their 40s. We got a few people here who know. Actually, I should say a couple, because Mina and I are not there yet. But, RC, whoever's in at quarterback will have to face Seattle's defense and what makes them such a tough group to go up against.
Honestly, I don't care if you're 24 years old, 34 years old, 44 years old.
Doesn't matter.
This Seattle defense is absolutely scary. The thing I would like about Riley Leonard would be his ability to get out of the way, use him in the run game to free up Jonathan Taylor a little bit with what he can do with his legs. What scares me with Philip Rivers isn't just the physicality, it's the multiplicity of the Seattle Seahawks defense and not having seen things at full speed in 5 years for Philip Rivers. And I think that's going to limit your playbook, and you're not going to want Philip Rivers to be under center, play action fake, and turn his back to a Mike McDonald defense that could be in totally different places post snaps. And those are the things that make me a little bit nervous about Philip Rivers starting, even beyond the physical.
Yeah, we're talking so much about Philip Rivers, Riley Leonard, all this. We haven't spent a ton of time on Sam Darnold and that offense for Seattle. What's going to be key for the Colts trying to slow them down?
Yeah, well, I think that's where the onus here resides because, to Ryan's point, I don't have a lot of confidence in Philip Rivers in this offense against a Seattle defense that is good against all the things Philip Rivers needs to do. They're second yards per carry against the run. They're second best defense in the NFL against quick game, all the stuff we expect the Colts to go with. So a lot of pressure to me is on Lou Anarumo to replicate some of the game plans that have given Sam Darnold trouble this season. The Rams, Brian Flores and the Vikings, exotic pressures, getting pressure particularly on the interior of that offensive line, getting him to hold on to the football and make bad decisions. The best support that the Colts can give Philip Rivers this week is field position. So I think for them, it's all about coming up with a game plan to make life harder for Darnold, which, the Colts defense is not anywhere. It's not as good as the Vikings, certainly not the Rams. But Lou Anarumo can cook up some stuff that might confuse Sam a little.
Still concerned about Sam Darnold and some of the habits that I've seen from the past creep up. It was the case again last week. I'm still concerned that this team just cannot run the football, and there's way too many negative runs. That being said, I do think we're starting to see the usage and impact of the Shaheed trade.
Yes.
Ever since he's come over, it's, well, how are they going to use him, even with JSN and Cooper Kupp? And you'll see them kind of throw what I call completion plays to him, like, hey, just get the ball into his hands. But then now some of those longer intermediate routes where his speed is allowing to push the defensive backs back a little bit. The motion use, and how making sure that they can get him the football and the crossing routes to become a really big part of their plans. So, like, I do love that they're finding ways to use him. I have some concerns the way the quarterback is playing.
Again, the report there from Stephen Holder, they have not said anything official, but all signs pointing to Philip Rivers making his return to football. And this is another weird one. It's kind of fluky, but the Seahawks just 7-8 at home under Mike McDonald, 13-2 on the road. So they host this one. You never know. Maybe that matters. I don't know what's going on at home. They'll be talking a lot about this one. Let's head to the Mile High City. The Broncos gearing up for the Packers defense this week. It'll be Bo Nix's first time facing Micah Parsons, and the second-year quarterback knows it's a big test. Hear what he had to say.
This will be my first time playing him, and only heard stories and seen video, so I know it's going to be a lot for us. He's one of the best players in the league for a reason. You don't want to make him bigger than the game. We'll always be aware of where he's at, just with certain calls, but you definitely have to play the game, and you have to also allow our players to do their best against him.
I mean, listen, I don't know what's going to happen in the game. Bo, respectfully, you have not seen anybody like Micah Parsons probably in your life. Mina, what do you expect to see from this matchup?
I mean, I think the Packers offense versus the Broncos defense is like the football sicko matchup of the week.
Yes.
I want to bring something up, and Ryan, I really want to hear your thoughts on this. So, Jordan Love against man coverage has just shredded it. Second in QBR in the NFL. The Broncos defense, we know, loves playing man coverage, and they're exceptionally good at it. They allow the second lowest QBR in the NFL. It's kind of like a something's got to give scenario. What I want to hear from you, Ryan, is if you're Vance Joseph, do you look at this offense, and even if they've given all the success they've had against man, and some of it's love, some of it's the scheme, some of it's the emergence of Christian Watson, and do you say to yourself, cool, we got Patrick Surtain, so we're good on Christian Watson. We feel good about the rest of our guys against Wicks and Reed and whatnot, or do you change up some of your tendencies given how successful the Packers have been schematically at getting those guys open, and maybe concerned about whether they'll be able to attack the non-Surtains on your defense? Because I think that's going to really decide how this one goes. A lot of this is on Vance Joseph.
No, absolutely. I think it's about having a mixture. It's about being able to show something and have players drop or give players zone eyes on the back end. And the one thing about Pat Surtain II, since he's returned to action, he hasn't been that defensive player of the year that we saw last year. You think about his matchup with Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin was able to get some space and get open, even though Pat has been phenomenal. But you have to think about the Riley Mosses and the McMillans, who have played well, but have been susceptible to getting plays made on them. And when you see Jordan Love playing at this level, here is where the rest of the wide receivers outside of Watson come in. They've been used to being wide receiver by committee. So we've seen some of those guys step up and make number one type plays. Example, Dontavian Wicks versus the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I personally, I don't think they can cover both Wicks and Reed with their guys. I got a lot of respect for Denver's defense, but if they play man in shadow, Surtain on Watson, Jaden Reed should have a big day. I look at the other side and I go, okay, Green Bay's defense just played Chicago's run game, which is a zone-centric run game, and did a very good job. Denver's a little bit different of an animal. Denver will get into 22 personnel, so 2 back, 2 tight end, and they'll run just a little bit more at you with their fullback and pull people. Then they'll also run their keeper game. Bo Nix throwing on the run at a very high clip, and then down in the red zone, utilizing his legs. So for me, it's this Green Bay defense. Can you, 2 weeks in a row, handle a good offensive line in the run game, but in different schemes? And then Bo has made so many plays with his legs this year.
Yeah.
I think that's when Micah shows up. I think that's the impact that Micah plays, is his ability to chase an athletic quarterback down.
All right, you saw a little teaser there. They were flashing the game picks. I haven't gotten to pick games with you guys on Fridays because of college football. I'm not sure if
wow.
We're sounding the gong early. Anybody? That makes me a little nervous.
Wow.
And by the way, the Packers
shocked.
have beaten a team on a 10-game win streak only twice, 1934 versus the Lions and 2005 versus
I will
the
just say
Seahawks.
this, too, about this defense. You face Gibbs, Montgomery, Manungai, Swift in consecutive weeks. I mean, they're battle-tested against the run. And
That's true.
You could get the bad Bo Nix for much of this game.
Yeah.
And I believe Jordan Love and that team scores enough to make it difficult.
So the flip side of what I was saying at the top, the Green Bay Packers defense plays zone. Bo has been much better against man than zone. So he's going to have to level up in this one and find the space rather than just throwing to guys. That's where he's had success in the past.
Again, Mina called it a football sicko matchup. It's going to be a great one.